Hi, this video will show how to mount non-mortised hinges onto old doors for your cabinets, or how to put it on new doors if you're refurbishing your cabinets. It is this style of hinge, the non-mortised hidden or European hinge. This particular brand is Hickory. This is what they will look like when they're folded. They come with a set of instructions which are not helpful at all unless you are an architect, an engineer of some kind. So I will show you the way I figured out easily to do your overlay. As a reference, here are the directions explaining a full overlay, a partial overlay, an inset installation with all kinds of measurements which are impossible to follow. An easy way to figure your overlay is to say, oh, a full overlay is all the way over. Everything is hidden. A partial overlay obviously is a partial of anything less than full, and an inset would be inside the door. So rather than mount the hinge a bunch of times trying to figure it out, a good trick is to hold the door and judge your overlay. As you can see, these are manufactured very tight specs. Very little overlay on each side, about an 1/8 or 3/16 of an inch on each side is all that was allowed for. So I'll hold it in that position and then I'll show you how to figure the hinges easily. You can use some blocks of wood to help you get to the right height off your counter. If you're on the floor, use obviously different blocks. And then we'll come up to the top and you can see I've got my overlay is adjusted on both sides, roughly the same. I'll hold that in place, and the easy way to get the hinge is we take the hinge and fold it up. They are marked, but that is the door side, so we'll make sure that's facing the door. The other side is facing to the face. We'll slide that against the door and then up against the stile. We'll slide it down just a little way. We'll reach inside with our pencil and just put a line in there. We'll show that in a second. So this is what it would have looked like inside the cabinet when I was marking that. Now we know exactly how far in that hinge has to sit in order to sit flush. So we'll take that off, we'll do a quick measurement. We find that that's 2 inches. Using your speed square, you'll take the hard edge out here, the stile edge, and run it along and make a mark at 2 inches where both hinges are going to be. Now what I've done is I've figured out the height that I want the hinges to sit off from the face of the cabinet, from the bottom rather, and it is just a little more than that, so that I can use this as a block for a helper. So I figured it out, and it is 1 3/4 inches. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So we mark the 1 3/4 inches on both of them. Making sure now that we have the door side facing the door again and the outside facing the stile. That gives us a good reference point to start from. Marking the slotted holes first because we want to have room to make adjustment. I don't have a center punch, so we'll just put some small marks there and then give it a small pre-drill. Very shallow, just a custom-made door. Very thin, so we're just getting a nice starter hole for that one, and you don't want to go too deep or you'll go through the face of your door. Then we can place the hinge again, checking that we have the door side down. It's in the center of the punches. Centering it in the slot, and then we'll do that to the other hinge as well, all the way around. So I know already from previous doors that I have an 1/8 inch back set for my hinge, so I've marked that at the top and the bottom. That's roughly how deep. And if we look at this one over here, we can see that. We can make some adjustments to it. I've set it up so I can use this block to help me to find the right height. If you don't know what height yet to go to, you would hold your door up and see how much you overlay the bottom. and how much you overlay the top. And then you can adjust your block accordingly, and that will help you hold it in position. Even if you have someone helping you, this will help hold the height. So we have the hinge opened up to the open position. We've checked and double checked our overlay for the top and the bottom. We have our block to help us guide it, and we pull this out to the 1/8 inch line that we marked, which we found earlier through a bunch of trial and error. And we'll mark the center of that slotted hole and of the upper one. Now you'll pre-drill those so you don't drill your side. And all these steps after, we will assume that you pre-drill, so we'll skip this step. We've got the pre-drilled holes in the middle of the slotted part. We'll mount the bottom one. And we'll close the door and start checking the adjustments. Checking the overlay, we'll measure those out. So now we'll check. That's our first rough adjustment. Just take a tape measure and we see we've got 1 inch. We'll check the other side. We're about 15/16. We'll check the top, which should be fairly close. So we've got 7/8, and we've got 15/16. So we're really close. So we'll check the center now, because that's really the one that matters a lot to us, which is 1 inch and roughly 15/16. That one came out pretty good. But what we can do is we've got all these slotted screws, so we can make a lot of adjustment to this door to try to get it to sit nice and flush and plumb, so that our gap looks equal all the way around it, giving us a nice reveal. One problem you may encounter is your cabinet face is too shallow to support the hinge. So we've just cut some blocks, pre-drilled them with a counter set, and we'll put those in place to support the hinge fully. Another option is to put an entire strip, depending on how deep your shelves come out to the cabinet face. In this case, I just put a whole strip, and the other one, I put a block. So that way it's fully supported. So as you can see, with some minor adjustments, we've got a nice even seam all the way around. The reveal looks fairly identical. And we've got our nice hidden hinges